How's it going, guys? It's Ravensplay back here with part 3 of our walkthrough of the full release of Baldur's Gate 3. We are here in the tomb that we had left off in the last episode, and we are going to be heading in. Now, I believe...
Ripe with magic.
Yes, I have set up a couple of custom hotbars for our spellcasters. Doesn't matter so much for fighters like Lysel because a lot of their stuff is already fits fairly easily here, but for the spellcasters it's quite nice because I can just press the 1 key, for example, and have an Eldritch Blast ready, or the 2 and get ready to cast a Hex. So that's something that you might want to go ahead and do when you hit the custom tab over here and you press K to bring up your class specific things. You'll be able to drag and drop these icons here to go ahead and customize it however you see fit for your game. So we're going to go ahead and continue on looting a couple more things. I did go ahead and think up another question of the day for us today. So for today, I would like to ask what your guys' favorite part of RPGs are. What is it that draws you to these type of games that maybe other games don't have that keeps bringing you back to the genre? For me, it's the depth of characters and the way that you can interact with them as you make your mark on the world. I love seeing how companions act to my choices and knowing that I've had an influence on them, and I think that BG3 did a really good job in that aspect for all of these characters here. So I'm excited to share more of that with you guys as we continue to get into it here. So go ahead and leave your answers down in the comments, and I will look forward to reading those when I finish uploading this. So just going through the motions of continuing to loot a couple of things. There's some clothes there. That does remind me, I have totally forgotten last episode to give Gale his hat, so I do want to go ahead and do that now. Let's go ahead and sort by type. That way we have all of our clothing right in a row, and give Gale his wizard hat, of course. Excellent. He looks like a proper dashing gentleman now. Alrighty, and then we got some other various clothes, but that doesn't matter too much right now.
Best be on my way.
Alrighty, so we're going to continue on. So if you had attacked the men outside and didn't use the pillar, alerting all of these people in here to your presence, this room is actually where most of the enemies inside here will be. So you can either sneak up on them and attack them from here using this door as a choke point. Do be advised that unlike this door over here, which is controlled by a lever, this door is able to just be opened by both sides, so that trick won't work quite as well. But we are going to go in here for a specific purpose, not the least of which some looting. But if we go back here, you can see that we provoke a perception check, and if we hit this lever, it is going to open a secret passage for us. So you might have seen another door over here that we hadn't entered. That door is actually locked, and by pulling that lever, it does unlock it, so we are able to go in here to the next room. Now, if you'll recall, back at the beginning of last episode, right on the beach, I had spoken of a door that we would be seeing later on that we didn't have to break into right at that time because we'd be finding another way to get in, and this is what I was speaking of. So if you go through these heavy oak doors here, there is actually this door, which is that same door leading outside there. As you can see, there's a ton of perception checks going off because there are traps all over this room for anyone unsuspecting enough to open the sarcophagus without being ready. This was quite a difficult chore in early access, but it's quite a bit easier now. But just for safety's sake, we're going to go ahead and split off our main character by just dragging his portrait away from the locked portion of the other ones. And I'll go ahead and do a quick save here. And we're going to go ahead and open this sarcophagus. So as you can see, it automatically put us into turn-based mode. By opening the sarcophagus, we do get a key and a specific spear. And we can go ahead and just move slowly out of the room. You can hold shift and press spacebar to exit turn mode, or alternatively you could just press that button over there. But you can see it does get rather fiery in there if you aren't prepared, so as long as you know what you're doing with when you get to it, then it's fairly easy to subvert that puzzle. Beforehand, it would automatically knock you down, and so there was a whole bunch of shenanigans you could do to avoid that. But there's that key that we just opened the sarcophagus for, I used to get in here. I really do recommend that you loot all of these skeletons, as that's going to become very important apparently in a minute.
Subversive about their words that they commanded protection.
So we got 1, 2, 3 bodies so far. We can climb down these right here, maybe get a little bit of lore.
Look at that. Jurgle, the scribe of the dead.
Indeed.
This chapel must be ancient.
That is Jurgle, one of the gods of death. Particularly this skeleton right here. This entombed warrior, you definitely want to take his scimitar if you can. And we had already looted that skeleton over there. There's one more right here, and do loot it. Like I said, these ones aren't as important as that warrior, but definitely loot him, and that will become a little bit more apparent as we go on. So we're going to go ahead and go in this room first. And there is another sarcophagus here that we should be able to look inside. Excellent. It does have a shield that's going to do wonders for our armor class. So yeah, this shield we are able to equip because we have that first level of fighter, and now our armor class is 19. That is immaculate for this point in the game. That means that a lot of enemies are going to have to roll like a 15 or higher to be able to hit you. So you have about a 75% chance of dodging most attacks that come your way. And we are going to go ahead and save here. This may be something that you want to do in your games if you're okay with reloading the results to get specific dialogue options.
Than it should be with such a massive log.
We're not the greatest with intelligence or strength, so we're going to go ahead and use our charisma to channel our patron's power into the lock to see if we can open this book here. And we can, of course, still do a guidance on this. Not quite enough still, unfortunately. So we are going to be unable. We do have an inspiration. I can't recall exactly what we had done to get that inspiration point, but essentially if you act in concordance with your character's backstory, with their background specifically, you will get inspiration at various points throughout the game, and as well as whenever you act in a manner that is befitting of your companion's background, then you could also get inspiration. So just for demonstrational purposes, I will go ahead and use that inspiration point here. This check isn't super important, so if you want to save it, that's totally fine. Another thing you can do is, I believe, unless they have patched it out, you should be able to check this book with each one of your companions to get the dialogue options that you'd like. But we're going to go ahead and use this to roll again. We got a fairly good shot of hitting this, and a natural 20, that's obviously going to do it.
As the lock opens, a loose page comes with it. Magic pulses from the parchment. What was once script is now an obliterated scrawl. You have a sense these are names, a list. But of what?
I love seeing Gale just studiously avoiding the book in the background. He looks quite good with his new wizard hat, if I do say so myself. So this is going to be an intelligence roll. We do have guidance, so it should offset our intelligence, which means that at worst this is going to be a straight roll of 50-50. Unfortunately, not quite enough, so we are going to go ahead and fail that.
The longer you stare at the dark and decimated words, the more your head aches. There is no meaning to be found here.
Now, I'm not certain if Gale has religion proficiency. I don't imagine that he does. No, he doesn't, but he still has a +3 from his high intelligence score of 17. So we're going to go ahead and try, like I said, with him to see if that interaction still works. No, it looks like that is not the case anymore. So if you do want to learn more about that specific book, I would recommend just quick saving beforehand. You can even quick save in dialogue. So when the narrator is reading you out the situation regarding the book, you can go ahead and quick save before you roll, just so that you can get the outcome that you'd like. But it's not super important, so I'm not going to be worrying about it for this instance. Now, there is a button right here. I'm not certain if one of our characters already passed the perception check to see it, or maybe if that's already uncovered now.
What's that?
It looks like it might have just been a graphical bug. Maybe we weren't supposed to see that yet. But I do recommend that you hide with all your characters as you go about hitting this button here. As you can see, all of the skeletons have woken up, so that's why I told you to definitely use your use the time to loot them of all of their weapons, so they're going to be a little bit easier to defeat in combat. Another thing that we're going to go ahead and do is with our main character here, we're going to go ahead and separate him so that the others don't move, but we are going to see if we can't get a couple of free shots on these skeletons right here. Alright, so we are going to make sure that we're on our crossbow, and
Gods take you first.
ooh, okay, I guess I cannot move. I guess I can't move, but they were surprised, so works well enough, I suppose, as we're going to just go ahead and run away. That was a bit unfortunate. It wouldn't let me cancel the action there. I'm not certain how he's hurt. Maybe our action actually did go through. But I should be able to move up just a tiny little bit so that I'm in range. And shoot. Rolled an 8 on the die and we needed a 9. Alrighty, unfortunate. But now what we're going to go ahead and do is just head into this room. So they're going to have a harder time targeting us and have to use their action on dashes. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move out just a hair. Let's go ahead and hex him, might as well, for his dexterity. The reason that I do dexterity is we do have a couple of dexterity saving throw spells in Shadowheart's Sacred Flame, as well as Gale's Grease, so giving them the hex dexterity means that they have disadvantage on those rolls. So just a little bit of utility for our party here, but mostly it's for that extra damage. As we are rolling real poorly here, unfortunately. Alrighty, while it is still our turn, I want to go ahead and see if we can get a couple of our characters to come over here and begin helping us. Let's go ahead and use the Grease with Gale. He does manage to get that, and he knocks the warrior down at least. And Shadowheart should be able to attack him. Maybe if we go right here, can just get the attack off. Not quite. Maybe she's in range. Alright, yeah, she does get that bit of damage off. And we'll keep Lizelle in reserve. Unfortunately, she's not getting a lot of action in a lot of these combats, but she will. She'll definitely get to see some combat here. And Fenris, we're going to go ahead and move just out of the doorway. So these farther guys are still going to have to dash to get in range to do anything for us. So when you move through the grease, it does provoke dexterity saves. So as you can see, he did fall down prone, likely because he had failed the initial, or rather because we had hexed him with our main character. So that is going to be definitely be useful for us there. Now Lysel is in the initiative, but we need to get out of the way for her. So let me go ahead and shoot at, yeah, these scribes are going to be the ones that are giving us a bit of spot of trouble. So we'll go ahead and continue moving out. I'm not quite certain how I got in a critical hit and only did 6 damage. Oh, I rolled 4 on 2d8. Well, that's a bit unfortunate. Alright, and then another thing that you may want to consider is that melee attack rolls against creatures that are prone have advantage. So you can see Lysel has a very good chance to hit here. But let's go ahead and see. Unfortunately, both of those are out of their action. But let me see if we use our short bow. I guess in BG3 they both give you advantage, but our melee attack's definitely going to be better. So we're just going to go ahead and go over there and attack him. And that is going to go ahead and light this on fire because of our Everburn Greatsword. So we're going to just move back a little bit and use our other characters to move further inside to protect them. She is out of actions. Fenris is done. We're going to move Shadowheart back. So that is going to hit Lysel, but she should be fairly tanky, so that shouldn't be a problem. It was quite a potent stone throw there. So she is going to be in the fog cloud, so she can't see for as long as she's in there. So we're going to go ahead and just use our second winds to recover those hit points. And she was able to recover all of it. She actually rolled really well on that. And we're just going to wait with our characters and have them come to us. So combat, if you really boil it down, is just making more efficient use of your enemy's actions, or rather of your own actions than your enemies. Especially in combats where you're outnumbered like this one, you definitely want to go ahead whenever you can and get your enemies to waste turns and make sure you're doing things that are very advantageous.
This is your end.
Alright, excellent job, Lysel. Unfortunately, the one that cast the fog cloud is still unavailable, so we're going to go ahead and wait with our characters again. And see, they're unable to do anything really useful except just dash through. That warrior seems to be a little stuck. Maybe he still thinks that this is covered in grease, but oh well, we're just going to go ahead and take advantage of it.
Taste my fury.
As Lysel is pumping out the damage here. She's doing very, very well for us. So continue on our current trajectory. I'm gonna go ahead and move everybody a little bit further up in position, because we do want to be ready to move to attack when we have the opportunity. I'm not sure how long this fog lasts. Let's see, maybe we can see. He is concentrating. I'm not certain if it just lasts for as long as he concentrates, but we'll go ahead and see if moving up has affected their AI any. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and move forward and attempt to hit him. Perfect. And she was able to make certain that he was no longer concentrating on that spell because he died. So we're going to go ahead and with Gale here, gonna Ray of Frost him so he has a harder time getting to our companions. Unfortunately, he doesn't get the hit there, but that's fine.
So much for peace.
As with Fenris, we're gonna come over here, reapply our Hex spell. We're gonna do Wisdom this time for a specific purpose. And we're gonna go ahead and shoot him. Nice damage there. 10, 15 total. That's actually amazing. That was actually the maximum that we could roll, so very, very, very good there. So you can see he has a 15 armor class, so he's no slouch in the defense department, but our characters are definitely pretty powerful, especially with the situation that we've put them in right now.
Have to keep going.
So I'm going to use Shadowheart's special ability here as a cleric to turn undead. So they and any undead within a 30-foot range, so you can see that marked by this circle here, have to make a wisdom saving throw, or they will be turned, which means they're frightened and they have to run away. We did give him disadvantage on his wisdom because of our hex, so hopefully we will be able to turn him. Unfortunately, he rolled a 14 instead of a 13, but you know what? I think it's time that we should use our portent die. So he does fail. He's now going to be turned, as we can probably see on his condition card. Unfortunately, it doesn't show you, but he is going to be turned, and he's going to have to spend his turn running away. Or not. Alright, maybe they changed that a little bit from D&D, but we should be able to fairly easily just attack here. We'll use Action Surge with Lizelle to get another attack. And she has unfortunately used a lot of her special ability that doesn't seem to have left her a lot in terms of rolls left that are going to do good damage. But we're going to continue.
Let's go.
Looks like he's unable to take reaction attacks. Maybe we were just out of range of him. Alright. Let's get a Sacred Flame Shadowheart. Okay, perfect. And move out of range. He should still be on Lizelle's attack of opportunity. Gale is already hurt, but he's only been doing about 7 damage with the stones. We still have one spell. I'll go ahead and shield. So with his increased armor class, he now has...
Allow me to demonstrate.
It already switched over because it's our new turn, but that's just fine. Alright, Gale. Unfortunately, I thought I had another spell slot, but looks like we didn't quite. But that is going to go ahead and end combat. And then, for whatever reason, it seems like some of these undead will respawn more loot when you kill them. So, might as well make use of that. And then there were the couple that we killed in here. There's a little chest in here with a unique amulet. This allows you to speak with the dead as the spell, which I believe is restricted to humanoids. A Warg Fang, Shocking Grasp, and some gold. So, neat. And then this sarcophagus right here is the reason that we came into this tomb. This sarcophagus is going to start the chain of events that allow us to eventually respec our characters. So, definitely want to rush this if that's something that you're interested in doing. So, let's go ahead and open it.
So he has spoken, and so thou standest before me. Right, as always. What a curious way to awaken. Now, I have a question for thee. What is the worth of a single mortal's life?
Bet you weren't expecting a Philosophy 101 question when you walked into an abandoned tomb, but here we go. Who is this gentleman that you were talking about?
An arbiter of certain matters. But that is not important now. Wilt thou answer my question?
Sure, we will answer your question.
So, I ask again, what is the worth of a single mortal life?
So you can see right here, we have an option because we are a Lothsworn Drow. That is sort of the evil upbringing that we had, but we are trying to be a better person than our surroundings. So each life is of infinite value and merits sacrificing everything for. Yeah, everybody's life is worth something to somebody, and just because you aren't personally connected to the person doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't valuable to someone. And if you ever want somebody to sacrifice something to you, you have to be willing to sacrifice something for others as well.
And thus, balance is achieved. If all are at war, none can win. Very well. I am satisfied. We have met, and I know thy face. We will see each other again at the proper time and place. Farewell.
Alright, so we actually got an inspiration for that because of our Haunted One background. So, let's see. So yeah, from releasing Withers from his tomb, we got a inspiration point. So as you can see, Shadowheart here is an acolyte, Gale is a sage, and Lysel is a soldier. We can only have a maximum of 4 inspiration, whether that's we get 4 inspiration with our main character or 1 for each of our characters. And then after that point, we will stop accruing further of them. So definitely use your inspirations, especially when there's a check you want to make, so that you can continue accruing them. But anyway, let's go ahead and take stock here of our allies. We don't have any short rests left remaining in the day. We do still have Hex up on our main character. Shadowheart still has 2 spell slots. Lysel has neither of her fighter abilities, but she is still full health. Gale is the only one that is a little beat up, but perhaps against my better judgment, I think we can do one more fight before we head to our long rest for the day. Hey Withers, how you doing? So we will, as he said, meet him again, so don't worry about that. We will be seeing him real shortly. So we're going to go ahead and go out this way. See a pretty little cinematic, or rather just a view of the water leaving the cave. But if we go around the back here, we can hit this lever, and that's going to drop down this ladder so we can take that to leave the tomb swiftly and easily. You could also, of course, while you're in there, just teleport to one of these, but there's a specific reason I do want to come out here, and not the least of which to grab some more alchemy ingredients, because eventually I will use that. I don't know that we have enough to really do anything with right now. I'll go ahead and take a look at our alchemies supply pack. We have Potion of Healing that we're unable to do because we need Rogue's Morsel and a Suspension. Elixir of Fire Resistance. We don't have the Dragon Egg Mushrooms or Salt. Alchemist Fire, Fire Ember and Salt, Oil of Accuracy, Sublimates. Looks like we're missing just one Belladonna to get a Sublimate. We don't have any recipes for salts or essences. We have a couple of ashes, not quite enough of, and then suspensions. We are missing murgrass. So we're not quite at the portion where we're able to do any alchemy yet, but we will continue picking up ingredients so that we can hopefully do some of that in the future. And then this was the reason that I wanted to come up here. We can go ahead and dig that out. We do need a shovel. So I had forgotten most times I would kill these gentlemen up here and grab their shovel, but it looks like because we didn't attack them that we never received one. So we'll probably just have to keep this in mind and come back at a later point when we do have a shovel. So we'll continue running with our characters here.
You will not even see it.
Really comforting commentary from Lysel there. Thank you. That's exactly what I want to hear with you with a flaming sword at my back. We're going to go up this way. As you recall, this was the little area where we had talked with the Tieflings to free Lysel. So we're going to continue going north of that, and if you go over here to this right path, there is another waypoint that you can use for fast travel. So we're going to go ahead and pick that up before we move forward. And just checking, yeah, I did think that there was another alchemy ingredient. There's some balsam here. And we're going to move up onto this little hill here. And we are going to go ahead and do a little bit of pre-buffing. So we're going to use Bless on ourselves, Lysel, and Gale there, and we're going to move forward. By moving forward to this part of the rock, we are going to go ahead and trigger something.
Open the bloody gate! Nobody gets in! Zevlor's orders! That pack of goblins will be on us any second! What's going on? Goblins are on our tail! Open the gate, Zevlor, now! You let goblins here? Where is the druid? Please! There's no time! By the 9 hells! Open the gates! Cannon! No! Shit! Form a line! Damnable roach! Provoke the blade and suffer its sting.
So that right there was Will. He is another origin character and another companion that we can potentially get. He's another character that I am very doubtful that we'll be taking along with us, because he is a warlock, so he would be filling a similar role to what we are. He's a different subclass than we are, but I think that we're going to go ahead and leave him. He's an interesting character, and he's a pretty good person as well, so if you want to go for a good party, he's another option, especially if you aren't filling the sort of range damage role. But that's what we are doing, so we're going to go ahead and just pick him up probably, but unlikely to use him at this time. So in combat, it's generally a good idea to clear out some of the adds whenever you can. So as you can see, these goblin trackers have the least amount of health, so we're going to go ahead and hex. Doesn't really matter, I don't see us using too many spells here, but we will go ahead and hex and then shoot. And that was enough. Excellent. Go ahead and move. These green are allies, so they're not going to be attacking us. And then you can see there's interspersed throughout the turn order. It looks like Lysel and Gale have the same, but we won't be able to move after until several enemies have gone. And I believe you're able to move concurrently when allied characters are moving, though they won't move until after you.
Every last one of you!
Oh, and I totally forgot to mention one of the things that I am really, really happy about when it comes to BG3 is, if I can pull up the team screen, there we go, by hitting tab. Even when we have our crossbow out like we do, we still get the benefits of the shield's armor class, so we're still benefiting from our super, super high armor class, which is amazing. Shadowheart can't shoot this bow because she is within 5 feet of an enemy, so she's going to have disadvantage. But it looks like she won't provoke an attack of opportunity from backing up, so we'll just go ahead and do that, and then attack this creature here. Unfortunately, she does not hit, but I don't think this is important enough to use our remaining portent die on. So we're going to go ahead and skip. It's going to be the warg's turn now. Unfortunately, he missed the bite. I mean, fortunately for us, I guess he is still our enemy. So Zevlor's going to put the rally effect on us, which is going to give us all 8 temporary hit points, so that's pretty nice. Make us a little bit tankier. And then Lysel, if you'd be a dear and come over here and end this little goblin tracker there. And you can start making your way down to have some fun in melee. And then we'll move Gale up here to see where are the enemies. We got the bugbear there. We got Zakrug, who's the boss, the warg, this Booyog, and the brawler. So the brawler has the, I guess he's tied with the Booyog. The Booyog can cast spells, so we are going to hopefully target him to get him out of the way. Oh, got a critical hit. That's pretty nice. Good job, Barth. As you can see there, he did cast Grace on us, but we all saved. That's very awesome. So this is kind of like a promotional fight for what Warlocks can do. I wouldn't necessarily pick Arms of Hadar or Jump, but that's just some things that Will would be able to bring to your party, so you may want to consider that. As we're going to go ahead and take out this Booyog, giving us a little bit more guarantee by hexing him first. And excellent, we were able to do that. So we're not going to move. As you can see, our sort of movement path is yellow. That indicates difficult terrain, so we're going to be able to move half as much. And then also Grease will provoke knockdowns whenever you pass a sufficient amount of it. So we don't want to go ahead and get knocked down. That will give us disadvantage. Well, I guess the enemy's advantage to be able to hit us. Grease is also not a concentration spell, so it's just going to remain here for a while until it gets lit on fire, or it might dissipate after a long time, but even though we killed the caster, it's going to still remain an obstacle for us. We can also use our portent die to assist allies, even if they are not in our control, but we're not going to go ahead and do that. Oh, that was a hefty hit on poor Barth there. He was able to dodge both of the attacks from the boss, so not too bad. We do have to move up just a tiny bit. Luckily, she did save. See, even that tiny bit of movement that we did provoke a knockdown attempt. So it looks like we're still out of range for whatever reason. So let's see if we can move up just a tad bit more. Didn't quite provoke an attack there. Alright, well, we're just going to go ahead and attack. And still hit. Excellent. Good job, Shadowheart. Alright, Lysel. Continue making your way down there. And when you start your turn in difficult terrain, it calculates your movement based on that difficult terrain. So you saw after we moved our full movement with Lysel, we did still have a little bit more that we could pull her. So that is another thing to be aware of. And we're going to go ahead and see if Gale is able to save our friend Rhaenyra here. looks like it'll be enough. Good job, Gale.
Which is the mother.
Alrighty, so it is going to be our turn again. And the next most hurt one is going to be our warg friend here. So we're going to go ahead and just keep shooting him. Critical miss, but that's fine. We're not going to use our portent die here. Actually, you know what? No, we're not going to use it because we actually forgot to hex, so let's go ahead and hex before we use any portent die resources. So he does try to throw a javelin on her, but does miss. If we were keeping Lysel for a longer period of time, I would consider getting some javelins for her to use. She'd be much better at using javelins than a short bow, because javelins are keyed off of strength instead of her dexterity, and her strength is going to be a fair bit higher than her dexterity, 17 as opposed to 13, so she'd get a +3 instead of a +1. But we are going to be switching her out fairly quickly here, so we'll just continue on. And we're rolling a lot of misses here, but that is the name of the game sometimes. They are really beating up on that poor bugbear there. We're going to go ahead and jump with Lysel to make sure that we can get in range and give this puppy a nice smack. Lysel does get some work done with this ever-burning blade, so definitely happy we have her, at least for the current juncture. Alright, another firebolt for the bugbear here. 2 damage. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Alright, and we are going to reapply our hex. This time, it looks like we can't quite reach them. One thing you can do, which I'm not a huge fan of, but you can go ahead and jump out of difficult terrain, and it won't count as you moving through it, so it won't provoke an attack, a prone check from us. So we can go ahead and jump and do that. That is going to use our bonus action, so we won't be able to hex anyway, but this would just get us a little bit closer to be in range. Unfortunately, that interaction does work for enemies, so if you put down a grease or a spike growth or some other method of preventing enemy movement, they can jump out of it, so it does make those spells a little bit less valuable, unfortunately. But we're going to go ahead and see if we can hit Zakrug here. As we can, it looks like he will be taken out in fairly short order here. So, our buddy Aradin is going to take out the boss there, and let's see if we can get Shadowheart or one of our other party members. We're going to be resting after this, so sure, let's go ahead and give Shadowheart the kill. Excellent.
That was the last of them. Inside! All of you! More may follow! Open the gate!
Perfect. And we do also get an inspiration for Lysel because we were able to save all of the allied people there. So that is another nice little bonus. We're going to go ahead and take these items.
How can I help?
Gale, you always move right in the way of where I'm trying to loot, buddy. As, ooh, there is another alchemy ingredient. We are not going to talk to Shadowheart. Okay, thank you. It did allow me to click away that time. So we're just going to go ahead and loot all of these items. The staff is a little heavy, but we are going to be fairly close to a vendor that we'll be able to use. So we are going to get encumbered now, because we're carrying too much. One thing you can do to quickly and easily sort this out is go ahead and sort by weight. So you can see a lot of it is in our camping supply pack. That alone is weighing us down 17.5. So we can go ahead and one very neat trick is on the PC. We can left click here and then hold shift and left click at the bottom of the list, and that'll highlight all of the supplies that we have here. And we're just going to go ahead and send them all to camp. And that is going to put us under the weight threshold. As I said, we're going to be interacting with the shop fairly quickly here, so not too worried about the fact that we are fairly loaded down. These gloves right here are unique. You do have to get the Brand of the Absolute, which is a mark that you might be able to get later on down the track. I wouldn't use them until you do have that, otherwise it's going to apply its penalty on you instead of on your enemies, but that is something that you can do. And then this spike shield is worth a bit less than a normal shield, but it acts just the same, so it's just another shield for us. Okay, we are encumbered again, but that's just fine. And we can pick up the javelins that this bugbear threw as well for the companion that we're going to be collecting, hopefully at the end of this episode, but I'm not quite certain. We'll see how it shakes out. But just to go ahead and get our weight down, we're going to go ahead and give those mines over to Shadowheart. So this is another interaction where you may want to save, so I'll go ahead and hit the quick save here. And let's go ahead and talk to Zevlor and Eridan.
There are children here, you fool!
We was running for our lives.
You led them straight to us, and you let them take the druid too? Unbelievable!
Yeah, it's not the best time to pick a fight after we just got out of one.
Tell that to the dead at the gate.
Shut it, Horns! I'd be lying dead next to the goblins if you'd stalled any longer.
My duty is to this camp.
Oh, God forbid you risk your precious tail. But I shouldn't be surprised. Foul-bloods ain't known for courage.
So we do fail the insight here, but it's just letting you know that they're about to get into a fight. I assume that's fairly self-explanatory given their stances here. But I don't think that we should continue with this violence. It's not going to bring back any of the people that we lost. And this is one of the few skill checks where you are unable to get guidance. I'm not quite sure why that is. Maybe it's just because the game logic is they don't want another character interfering when you have these type of dialogue. But for whatever reason, it is a difficult check, so we're going to go ahead and use it, and it is going to be roughly a 40% chance. And we are going to ace it, so very persuasive, our character, even with that proficiency.
You're right. There's too much at
And
stake.
Shadowheart does like that.
Worried about your precious hides, the both of you.
Enough! Squabbling is pointless. The goblins have found us.
At least we agree on that.
Okay,
More goblins could be on their way.
that is true. I like how they all use their second wind fighter ability at the same time. So let's go ahead and talk to Zevlor. He seems to be in charge of at least the defense around here.
Forgive that display. Aradin's a blowhard, but that's no cause for me to join him. I wouldn't have looked to a drow for help, but I'm grateful all the same. I'm Zevlor.
I understand that a lot of people are worried about drow. Like I said, drow are not the nicest people in the Forgotten Realms, so I'm Fenris.
Well met. I should warn you, visitors are no longer welcome in this grove. Whatever your business, I'd see to it quickly. The druids are forcing everyone out. This attack will only strengthen their resolve.
Why are they forcing you out?
There have been several attacks by different monsters. The druids blame us outsiders for drawing them here. Nobody's welcome anymore. They've started a ritual, to cut the grove off from the world outside. We can't stay, but we'll be slaughtered if we leave. We're no fighters.
Is there no way to convince them to stop it?
I've tried. Korga, their new first druid, won't even see me. You, though? I know it's not your business, but she owes you for saving this place. Perhaps you could persuade her, for more time to prepare, if nothing else.
Maybe a little bit of tit for tat. I need a healer. Do you know of anyone that could help me out?
Goblin got you. The druid Halsin's a renowned healer, but he didn't make it back from Aradin's expedition. If it's not too serious, you could try his apprentice Nettie. She's with the other druids in the Inner Grove. They've withdrawn there to prepare this damn ritual of theirs.
Alright, I will go ahead and speak with the first druid while I'm there as well.
I think you should. Yes. No harm in trying the diplomatic route.
I agree,
We owe you
Gale.
a great debt. If we're forced to leave now, we won't make it to the city. You'll find the druids at the heart of the grove. Please, make them see sense. Oh, and if it's of any concern, you're brave to walk around without hiding your heritage. I'll make sure everyone knows that you helped us at the gate.
Appreciate that, Zevlor. Thank you very much. Alright, there's some stuff for us to loot here. Some potatoes, and then some more clothes. Nice. Alright, and we will go ahead and head up this way here. So a lot of this stuff is marked as steel. You can see by the red icon to interact with it. So we're not going to go ahead and use that. We don't want to be stealing from anybody. That may change going on later to get a couple of key magic items, but we don't want to steal from the base people here. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything we can talk about with these tieflings here. They seem to be a little bit upset.
Have some respect. This really isn't the time to talk.
Okay, maybe your friend wants to speak?
Not now. Please.
Fair enough. What about you, Elgis?
Glad you made it inside. Doubt we'll be safe here for long, though. There'll be more coming. Goblins hunt in packs.
This is a pretty good defensive position.
You think? That's something, at least. We're not trained fighters, though.
Tactics are very important.
I'm guessing you have plenty of both. Be nice if I could say the same for myself. It'd be even nicer if we were on the road to Baldur's Gate already.
How far are we away from Baldur's Gate?
If the road was clear, 10 days walk maybe? But while the goblins are out there, it might as well be the other side of the world.
Fair enough. So these tieflings are in a bit of a rough spot. So we'll see if we can do what we can for them. And then there is one more interaction up here. Looks like there is a bugbear assassin watching this tiefling. So let's go ahead and see if we can help her out. So he is counted as surprise because we were able to get the jump on him. So we're going to go ahead and climb up here to give ourselves a bit of ranged advantage. And we are going to hex his dexterity. Doesn't super matter. Like I said, we don't have a lot of spell slots to blow at this time, but make sure we're using our crossbow. Nice 15 damage. Alright, Lysel. Gonna go ahead and just no. We're gonna go ahead and dash with you. That way we can get right up in front of him and protect this poor tiefling right here. Shadow Hearts. Let's see, what is your chance to hit? 50-50 versus 50-50. So might as well do the crossbow. It'll do a little bit more damage. He's gonna miss, but that is okay. And we probably could have gotten up there with Gale as well, but that's fine. We'll just go ahead and do some damage here. Critical hit. And we rolled a 9 on 2d10. Unfortunate. Oh well. Yeah, come up here where we can protect you. Alright, I am going to go ahead and show you a pretty fun mechanic. Hopefully it works. So you can, as a bonus action, attempt to shove people. It is going to be based on your strength, specifically your athletics score. So Lizelle will be our best character at doing this. So she's going to go ahead and try to shove this man. And as you can see by the blue line sort of going around behind him, that's going to be his trajectory. So he is going to fall quite a ways. Unfortunately, it wasn't quite enough for her to deal a bunch of damage, but we can go ahead and just come down here and follow that up with a nice attack. And that is going to be enough. Perfect. And that was enough to level us up as well. Excellent. Alright, so we'll go ahead and deal with that in a minute. Let's go ahead and talk with this lady right here that we were just able to save. Do a quick save first.
You have good timing. Never been much of a fighter, so wrestling a bugbear would have gone poorly. But you're not here for heroics, are you? Avernus's stench is all over your skin. Let me guess. Your devil mistress sent you to get her soul coin back. Too bad. I earned it, fair and square.
I'm not quite sure what you're talking about, but I am interested in this soul coin. Yeah, just go ahead and hand it over to me. We do get a situational advantage because we did help her out, and we can also go ahead and guidance, so this is almost guaranteed to succeed. Yeah. With advantage, you roll 2 dice and you take a higher one, so like I said, we were almost guaranteed to succeed on that one. I guess technically we could have rolled 2 1s, but that is very, very unlikely.
That bloody Irenes! Devils just can't stand to lose. Here. Now go back to the pit that made you.
I've been to Avernus, but I don't serve a devil.
Care to explain why you reek of the hells?
You wouldn't believe me.
Considering what I've seen, you'd be surprised. But if you're not here for the coin, I'd rather enjoy the quiet. There's not much of it anywhere else.
Okay. A bit of a buggy interaction there. Now, I want to see, did we get the soul coin? We did. So she did go ahead. We had picked up one of these coins in the crypt in one of these sarcophagi, and then we got another one from her just now. So let's go ahead and loot this bugbear. Some more items for us, and then there should be another area to spot a treasure down here. Maybe not. Maybe they had given that a difference in full release. There's a nice little squirrel here. Oh, we can talk to the squirrel? Okay.
This squirrel might be the single most adorable creature you can recall in all your stunted memory. It would be ever so twee if it were climbing a tree.
Okay.
Terrific. If I'm ever harangued by a rodent, I'll know who to call for.
You stare at the body before you. You have no idea what just happened.
That was pretty awful. Yeah, that was not great.
The swirling bile cauldron of your brain is cooking up a poisoned stew.
Apparently we got inspired from that. Poor Timber. Oh man, I feel so bad now. I should... Okay, well, you know, if you want to save the poor little squirrel, don't interact with him if you're a Dark Urge character. Oh my gosh. Alright, let's go ahead and level up and try to forget about what just happened. Oh my gosh. Okay. So as I stated, we're going to go ahead and go Warlock 2 here. Let's see. If we go... Okay, we can just go ahead and select our other class here. So we'll go Warlock 2. We do get another spell that we can go ahead and use. Hellish Rebuke is an interesting reaction that we would be able to do. So let's go ahead and pick that. None of these other ones are really speaking to me right now. So, and then we do get 2 Eldritch Invocations. So this is what we are waiting for to make our Eldritch Blast be really, really good for us. So first and foremost, Agonizing Blast lets us add our Charisma modifier to the damage of our Eldritch Blast. So now instead of our Eldritch Blast being a single d10 of damage, it's going to be a d10 plus the 3 from our Charisma checks. If we're able to get our Charisma up to 18, that'll be a plus 4. And then if we are able to get it up to 20, that's a plus 5. So that's going to make this our best damaging option by a long time. Now there are some awesome other stuff that you can do, like you can cast Mage Armor on yourself without needing a spell slot. We already have Armor Proficiency, so that's not where we're going to go. If you want to be able to speak with all the animals and critters, you can cast Speak with Animals at will, so that's pretty interesting. We could get Proficiency in Deception and Persuasion. That is pretty tempting, because I do quite like being able to be proficient in those with my main character, but we are a Charisma class, so I'm less inclined. We can see in magical and non-magical darkness, so if there's any type of things you want to do with the darkness spell to sit in it so your enemies can't see through, that may be an option there. It does kind of interact, or it does interfere with some of what your party's doing, so we're not going to go. The one that I'm going to select is this Repelling Blast right here. So whenever we hit with an Eldritch Blast, we can push it 15 feet away from us. Now, in 5th edition, I believe it's only 10 feet, but you can push it back with each beam. The way that this is worded, I'm not certain that you get multiple pushes per beam, but we may. We're still going to take it. It's still useful. That can be used to push enemies off cliffs or into spells, or just get them further away so they're unable to attack you, and I think it's a really good invocation. And then... yeah, as I mentioned, we do get Fairy Fire because we are a drow. That's only once per long rest, but it is an option that we do have available to us. It's not going to take up one of our spell slots. And then we could also go ahead and switch one of our spells. So if we didn't want either Armor of Agathis or Hex, we could switch it for another one. But I'm happy with what we have right now. We'll go ahead with Shadowheart. So we do get 2nd level spells with Shadowheart, so that is going to be very nifty. We're going to go ahead and prepare some more. So we have all 1st level spells prepared at this current time, so I don't really care that she does a lot of direct damage, so we're going to go ahead and unprepare Guiding Bolt. And then the Sanctuary spell, it might have some fringe uses, but we're going to go ahead and unprepare that. What we are going to do is prepare Spiritual Weapon, so she can use a bonus action on her turn, and then use a bonus action every turn to command this Spiritual Weapon to attack our enemies. It's very reliable damage, so we'll go ahead and take that. And then we will also go ahead and take Aid. So what this is going to do is everyone in a certain area around Shadowheart is going to be given 5 additional hit points over their maximum that lasts until the long rest. This, to my knowledge, can also be used in combat to heal people that have gone down, so we can go ahead and use it that way. Or you can use it at the beginning of the day to just go ahead and give all of your party members 5 extra HP, so hopefully they won't go down in the first place. But it's a good spell regardless, and there's some other interesting options here. You may want to try Warding Bond, you may want to try Enhance Ability or Silence, but I think personally these are my 2 favorites. The only one that I would definitely avoid is Prayer of Healing. You can only use it outside of combat. It's not that much healing. You would be able to get a similar amount or more by just upcasting healing or Cure Wounds. Granted, it wouldn't be all allies, but I just think that it's probably not something that you would use. Like I said, I don't see healing spells as being super efficient. They're just there sort of in a pinch. Speaking of, we also don't need Cure Wounds. I think that I had it automatically prepared for us again. So we'll take Warding Bond as another thing that we might potentially use in combat. We'll go ahead and level up Lysel. Okay. So she does get jump for being a Githyanki, so that is just going to boost her jumping ability for 10 turns, so neat. Especially with her high strength, she'll be very, very good at jumping. And then you can pick either Battlemaster, Eldritch Knight, or Champion. Out of the three of these, I personally do like Battlemaster the most. And then as far as the maneuvers, definitely like Menacing Attack. That is going to frighten creatures, so they will have disadvantage on attacking us, and they will take an extra d8 of damage. I also like... Pasta is a little bit different than it is in 5e. Trip Attack could be useful. Sweeping Attack could be useful. I like Rally for giving our teammates extra health points. Precision Attack would help her to hit, and that would be useful with using Great Weapon Master later on. I think we're going to go ahead and grab Precision Attack as well. But the ones that I really do like are Rally and Precision Attack, or Rally and Menacing Attack. So those are the ones that I would recommend. All of them have their place, and you can pick whichever ones you find most interesting. They'll all be doing either some extra damage or some good conditions. So Battlemaster has a lot of versatility that I quite like. And then finally for Gale, he's going to get second level spells as well. When we go to camp, like I said, we might respec him into a first level of fighter, but I'm still debating on that. So we can pick 2 more spells. So Knock will go ahead and unlock any thing that is held by a mundane lock. Mirror Image is very good defensively. I quite like Web. I think that's a good spell. It'll enweb creatures so they are unable to use further actions. And then for a little bit of utility, I'll go ahead and get the Misty Step spell. It's a bonus action and it'll allow him to teleport. So that is useful for getting him out of danger. If you do want a little bit more damage, Cloud of Daggers is a decent spell. Shatter is a decent spell. Scorching Ray can do a lot of damage to a single target, but it can also do very little damage, so it's a bit of a gamble. And then Flaming Sphere is sort of a bonus action spell that you're able to move around constantly, so that might be another consideration as well. But we're going to go ahead and take Web and Misty Step. All right.
Still alive, so that's progress.
And we are going to go up here. This gentleman right here is a merchant, so we're going to go ahead and see if we can sell some of our wares to him.
Refugees, adventurers, and even a drow. No one in years, and suddenly we're overwhelmed. Well met. And thank you for beating back those goblins. Most brave of you. Is there anything you need? Act fast if you do. The ritual will be complete before too long.
Are you really locking down the grove?
I know it's drastic, but more monsters seem to terrorize this region every day.
Excuse me, just taking a sip of my water there. What about the people that are here, like the Tieflings?
We druids will be safe. As for those that took refuge here, well, may Sylvanas guard them as they continue their travels.
That's a little callous there. You just said that the region's overrun by monsters. They won't survive.
As I said, it's a drastic measure. But the survival of the grove is paramount. There just aren't enough supplies to support everyone.
Tough situation. All right, what are you selling?
Just some bits and bobs I no longer need.
Can we stop shouting?
So we can go ahead and see the trade and barter screen. You can either go ahead and barter, which is by default, so by either double clicking on an object, or by simply dragging and dropping it over here. You'll be able to offer up all the items that you want to have for sale, and then you can hit this little scale option here to balance it out with an equal amount of gold. So if they're equal, then the trader will always accept it. If you are asking for more gold than what it is worth, then they will not accept it. So that's just something to keep in mind, and then at any time you can just go ahead and select this option to reset it. So I'm going to go ahead and sell off everything in the inventory that I don't need before we move forward. Alrighty, so we have just about bottomed out his gold supply, so we're going to go ahead and take all that there. Let's go ahead and see if there's anything he has that we might want to use. There's some dies that we might come back for a little bit later. Bonus to throw damage, missile snaring, that's interesting, but I think we're going to go ahead and pass on that. Ringmail +1, chain shirt +1, padded armor +1. Not seeing really anything here that's catching my eye, and this is a lot of just the stuff that we had sold him. So we're going to go ahead and be okay with that there.
Guide your path.
Okay. And we're going to continue on here. We're going to go ahead and quick save before speaking with these people right here.
Hells! We can't just leave. They're kin!
I'll not gamble our lives, our futures, on people who are as good as dead. We must leave for Baldur's Gate at once.
Can we all just take a moment, please?
What's the point in blazing spells if we don't bloody use them? We should stay! These people aren't fighters. We can help!
Or yell louder. That's fine too.
You should all stay. We need to be able to fight together. Yeah, let's go ahead and try to persuade them of this. Natural 1. We do have a couple of points of inspiration, so I'm ready to use it. We already had 3, so we're almost at our max anyway. And that should do it.
Thank you. It's the right thing to do, and you know it.
She's right, Roland. We're better than this.
Zergan. Fine, I'll stay too. Lest you both end up with your throats slit by goblin blade.
Thank you, Roland.
Alright, perfect. So, you know, just adding a little bit more love and care into the world.
This place. I'll never get the smell out of my clothes. I'll have to burn them.
I'm going to go ahead and go over this way. Let's talk with Eridan over here. He was a bit perturbed earlier, but maybe we can get him to be a bit more level-headed.
If it ain't the friendly drow. Thought you were with the goblins when you showed up at the gate. Glad you weren't. You fight well. Not like them bloody tieflings.
You fought pretty well too, all things considered.
Half my crew are full of holes. Now I'm gonna take the blame for leading the goblins here. And losing track of the bloody druid.
Where did the goblins come from?
They chased us. All the way from the ruins we were poking around in.
And that's where you lost track of the druid?
Aye. His name's Halsin. And if he's still alive, he'll be cursing the day he laid eyes on me. We've got a contract to track down some relic, and he wanted in on the job. Eyes lit up when he heard about it. Didn't work out though. Goblins got him when we were turning tail. He's either digging latrines or boiling in a cookpot by now.
How about I take a look at that contract? Maybe we can fulfill it for you.
Job's all yours, if you got a death wish. There's a wizard in Baldur's Gate that'll pay gobloads for a relic supposedly buried round these parts. But gold ain't any use if you're too cold to spend it.
That's reasonable. You know what the relic actually is?
If I knew that, I wouldn't be back here with half my crew gone. But look, if you're itching to meet Kellenvor, I won't stop you. It's called the Night Song. Supposed to be hidden under the temple where the goblins jumped us. I'd give you the map and wish you a happy funeral, but my mate Brian kept hold of it like his own todger. Goblins made short to the fat old chunk. All I've got's the contract. It'll show you where we turn back, if you feel like dying.
You're a rather crass man, Eridan, but thank you.
Don't thank me. I'll be well on my way to Baldur's Gate when you die.
He's a interesting gentleman there. So let's go ahead and take a look at this.
Don't you lie to me, boy. I know you have it.
Touch me and I'll bite your fingers off.
So you can go ahead and take a look at this if you want to go ahead and read it. Pause the video if you so desire. And it sounds like this poor tiefling is being accosted by Barth here. So let's go ahead and see if we can talk about it.
Only gonna ask you one more time, boy. Hand over my locket.
I don't have your ugly locket. I never seen it before.
Hand it over or I'll slap the teeth out of your head.
Yeah, don't touch the kid, man.
You threatening me?
You're the one making threats to a child. Just calm down. We'll get to the bottom of this.
You don't understand. The kid stole my locket. He... Oh, the hell's with this? These little devils get away with everything because of coddling bastards like you. You'll get yours someday. I hope I get to see it.
Maybe you will, but personally, I doubt it. See you around.
Okay, I think that kid is probably up to no good. So I feel a little bit bad about getting our poor friend to not be able to get his necklace back. But in any case, the kid ran off, so we might be able to meet him in a while.
Depends. How many people are dumb enough to
This gentleman right here is also a merchant, so let's go ahead and see what he's got for sale.
Thanks for fighting off those goblins. If you need to replace any gear, just ask. My selection's pretty slim. I had to leave most of my equipment in Elturel.
Are you a smith?
Of sorts. Used to be a bread and butter tinsmith before Elturel fell into Avernus. These days my talents are more eclectic. Learned a lot in my time in the Hells. Hope to forget most of it. But between you and me, there's nothing in all the realms like the utter power of infernal machinery. Alas, my offerings are far more humble these days.
I'd still like to see them if you wouldn't mind. Alrighty, so he's more of a weapon merchant, so he does have a couple more options. He's got a heavy crossbow +1, a light crossbow +1, a pike flail, hunting shortbow, advantage against monstrosities. That's interesting. But he does have another set of scale mails, which is pretty interesting, and a set of chainmail as well. So if you would like to go ahead and boost up some of the armor class of your companions, those are things. We may come back and get the scale mail. I'm not certain if the companion that I want already has that, but there's a couple more items that we can go ahead and sell. So let's go ahead and spend or get all the money that we can out of our inventory here. So just a little bit left that we had. They also has a hand crossbow. Hand crossbows are pretty cool. I would like to go ahead and share a build with you guys later on that I have been doing in a co-op campaign with my friend involving those. But we'll go ahead and save that for a later date. There's also this shield that gives us a +1 to saving throws. I'm willing to purchase that. Alright. And thank you, sir. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and equip that shield. Perfect. And just sort by latest. Alright, and I did also want to go ahead and talk with this lady right here. She's another merchant, a potion vendor.
If it isn't the talk of the camp. Thank goodness you came along when you... Oh! You're twitching something fierce, love. And your eyes. You look like you don't know the meaning of the word sleep. Auntie Ethel will sort you out. I've lotions and potions galore.
Alright, now I am a bit tired, so I'll just let her do as she will.
Aha! You take a sup at that and you'll feel right as rain, sweetie.
What is this potion?
Oh, 'tis just a healing potion, nothing fancy. Here. You just look like you might need a pick-me-up. I'm sorry to go on about it, but are you all right? You're looking awful peaky.
Yeah, I've been better, but it's a little difficult to explain.
Oh, I've seen it all. I once had a fella who'd been caught dabbling with a dryad. The wife was none too pleased and introduced him to a pot of boiling oil. But worry not. I fixed him up, and depending on the lighting, he looks good as new.
Depending on the
My point
lighting.
is, whatever ails you, I promise I've seen worse. What is it, Petal? What's wrong?
I don't know that she'll be able to fix our dark thoughts. And I don't really want to be advertising that we have mind flayer parasites to other people that aren't in the know. So, everything's fine. Thank you for your concern, though.
As you wish, Petal. Now, do you need anything? I have a few odds and ends for sale.
Sure. Let's go ahead and take a look and see.
Bother.
And she did give us a potion of greater healing, so that's very nice. She does have a potion of invisibility, and a couple of alchemical ingredients, but we're going to go ahead and pass on those for the current.
Take care now, sweetie.
Okay. Perfect. Now let us go ahead and head up this way. What is she doing? She looks a little bit suspicious.
Goblins, druids. This grove is a death trap. Grab what you can and get out. That's my advice.
Okay, I guess that was the only interaction that we had. Alright. And this right here is Zoru. So Lysel did want to go ahead and speak with him.
Roland shows off his thunder wave.
By Mordai's eyes. Another one. My friend's blood not enough. Come to rip me open too.
In Kresh Kalir, a formal greeting begins with a bow.
Is this monster with you?
I think we need an easier hand here, Lysel.
You dare interrupt? Has the tadpole ravaged your senses?
I just think that you are not going to get as much information as I might be able to if we are nice to him.
Kichoki. Fine.
Alright, I'm not gonna let her hurt you.
Thanks. What do you want from me?
We do want to speak with you about what you had heard about the other Githyanki.
On the road to Baldur's Gate, near the mountain pass. Saw us, for we saw it. Jammed its blade through Yul's belly, straight to the other side. And I just ran.
The map. Show me.
Thank you for your help.
No hard feelings.
Alright, well, she wasn't super happy that we took over her interrogation, but...
The last time a subordinate questioned my judgment, I ate tongue stew that very night.
I warned you, didn't I? You ought to reconsider keeping her around before she causes real trouble.
We're companions, Lysel. I'm not your subordinate. We need to work together. What do you suggest that we do next?
The Tiefling was clear. If there are Githyanki west of here, that must be our objective. Purification cannot wait.
I think she was trying to say tiefling.
I am unfamiliar with the... well, I shall not say culture. Custom, perhaps. You will educate me on matters of this... Fey run.
Faerun. Alright, what do you mean by purification?
The Kresh holds the Zafisk. It will cleanse us of the parasite. By covenant, I can say no more.
Alright, fair enough. Alright, let's go ahead and go up here. This is another interaction that you may want to save. You have an option to get a bunch of approval from your companions here, so.
Step, parry, strike, damn it! It's just not landing.
I could show you a thing or two if you're having trouble.
Well, I'm in no position to turn down help. We need to be ready for a fight, but I'm useless with a sword.
It's admirable that you are trying to get ready to help protect others, so just try putting one foot in front of the other and use your momentum.
Like this, you mean? Step, step, strike. Yes! You really know what you're doing. Found this by the road. Bet you'll put it to good use.
And, don't shout out your moves.
Oh, yes. I'll bite my tongue when the time comes.
Keep training, my guy.
Hopefully, it's just the goblins we have to worry about. The druids are treating us like vermin. But I'll keep at it. Thank you.
No problem. So as you can see there, we got a bunch of approval from our companions. That's definitely a good thing. And then Lysel also gets inspired by that. So if you have her in your party especially, I would recommend doing that. But pretty much everybody enjoys seeing you help out that guy who's trying to learn. And let's go ahead and speak with Will.
Go on. Give me a best shot. Not bad. Again.
I can't do it. I'm not like you.
Umi, I don't need you to be like me. You just have to buy enough time to run. Come on. I believe in you. You can do this.
It's good advice, kid.
You're on the right path, Umi. Go on now. Practice what you've learned. Well met. The blade of frontiers at your...
The man's smile bends downward, and his thoughts become yours. You are the blade of frontiers racing through the wastes of Avernus. Just ahead, a diabolical figure, red skin, single curled horn, blazes with flame, bloodied great axe held.
Hell's great fires. You were on the ship.
That's true. Who's the woman?
You saw her then. Advocatus Diaboli. Her name is Karlak. An archdevil soldier I swore on my good eye to kill.
I tracked her through the hells to the Mind Flayer ship, but the damned Illithids infected me before I could end her.
She's out there now, preying on the innocent. I don't kill her, she'll leave behind nothing but a trail of corpses.
What about the Mind Flayer tadpole in your head? Doesn't that worry you?
I'd be a fool if it didn't. I know the stories. Doomed to shed my skin, become a Illithid, and there's no coming back. But I haven't sprouted any tentacles. Least not yet, thank Baldur. Could just be good luck. But sooner or later, it's bound to run out.
Alright, well how about you join me and we'll search for a cure together.
An excellent suggestion, but your party's full up. Still, when the time comes, call for the blade. I won't be long to answer.
Appreciate that. Just go ahead and wait in camp.
A splendid plan. We'll talk more there.
Alrighty, and we are getting pretty late on to this, so we will go ahead and rest for the night. Alright, see if there are any of our companions that want to speak with us. We'll just make our rounds here.
The Blade of Frontiers. Let's hope Will lives up to his name. We'll need all the help we can get.
Is there any
Fine.
new thoughts?
What's on your mind?
Am I still doing
I
okay?
must admit, you've been a surprise, and not an unpleasant one. Kindred spirits are few and far between for me. Besides, you saved my life aboard the Nautiloid. How can I do anything but sing your praises?
Appreciate that, Shadowheart. Alright, that seems all you have to say to us. Anything new for me, Astarion?
So, we're traveling with the famed Blade of Frontiers. I feel safer already.
You want to tell me a little bit more about yourself, Astarion?
Oh, what's to tell? I'm a magistrate back in the city. It's all rather tedious.
Alright, cool. Lysel, you have any new revelations for
The
us?
Githyanki people have a word for men like the Blade of Frontiers. Shalak. Roughly translated, idealist do-gooder. Or better yet, benevolent burden. His confidence is an asset. His pursuit of valor, not so much.
Alrighty. And I think we already talked with her about those, so we're just going to go ahead and leave that there. I guess we can just get our opinions on all of our party members' opinions on Will, and then we'll go speak with him.
I've known a few warlocks in my time. Talented, of course, though sometimes too eager to listen to the devils on their shoulders. Comes with the territory, unfortunately.
Alright, and let's go ahead and speak with Will.
The Blade of Frontiers at your calling.
How did you come to be the Blade of Frontiers?
My father once said, one does not pursue a champion's life. One merely answers its call. So it was for me. I was hunting near the Cloakwood when I heard it. A child crying out from a lone farmstead. I found him in the fields, flanked by goblins. His mother's corpse bled into the soil next to him. I don't remember much of the battle, but I remember drying the boy's tears after.
That's good. It's good to be able to save somebody else.
Proud? No. Angry. Angry at the monsters preying on innocents. Angry at the so-called good gods for tolerating the cruelty of the evil. Angry at myself that it took so long for me to see the coast suffering. The Frontiers demanded a blade, and so I heeded.
What about before that?
Baldur's Gate, born and raised. The only son of a single father. He wanted one life for me. I chose another. We haven't spoken since I left the city. A classic drama. A staunch father and his rebellious son. Better heard from the bard's lips than mine.
So how did you end up chasing this devil through the hells?
Karlach's fires raged in Baldur's Gate before she escaped to Avernus, as my source told it. And she was planning to return. One of the archdevils Zariel's own. Chaos incarnate, a devil with pure fire for a heart. I made my way to Avernus to stop her. She fled from my reach, even climbed aboard the Mind Flayer ship as it screeched through the hells. I followed in close pursuit. I can't bear to imagine the lives Karlach might be taking, the damage she might be doing.
You seem very convinced that she is evil. What source of this?
A powerful friend with a keen interest in privacy. I'm sworn to say no more.
Powerful friend? Like a patron?
You are a warlock. You know about bound souls and frozen tongues. I can only leave the rest to your imagination. Suffice to say, I hunt monsters, devils included, and I will do what I can to quench the coast of their flames.
Alright, well, I noticed your eye. Did you lose it during battle?
A most vicious one, in fact. It's made from pure bloodstone, carved from the Galena Mountains just north of the Moonsea. A reminder that sometimes blood must be shed and sacrifices must be made. But that story is reserved for lifetime friends and calmer days.
Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Tiny grooves spider across the ice surface. It resembles a sending stone used to confer with distant contacts.
Is that a sending stone?
A sending stone? Nothing so special, I assure you.
You watch and listen for signs of deceit, but sense nothing unusual.
Alrighty. I don't suppose you've come across a healer in your travels.
I've come to know a fair few village clerics, but none with the skill to pull these worms from our heads. From what I understand, there's a healer called Nettie in the Grove. Perhaps she's got the talent. We should pay her a visit.
Sounds good. And then, I have no memory. Do you experience any type of memory loss?
Seems unusual to me. Then again, we're talking about tadpoles inserted into our brains by rubber-skinned tentacle monsters. There's nothing usual about it. All the more reason to stick close. I think you'll agree.
Alright. What about these darker urges I'm having?
Anger. I understand. We've been preyed on by illithids, suffered insertion of a mind-bending worm. Bloodthirst is another matter. But perhaps not too big of one, if it's a devil or demon's flesh you're wanting to tear.
Seems like Will has his own sort of insecurities or maybe past experience that want him to reflect everything on blaming specifically devils or demons. Granted, they are not the nicest bunch, but they're not responsible for everything bad that happens. So we're going to go ahead and rest. Oh, that looks like we do have more conversations to have with our friends. But our recording is running a little bit long, so we're going to go ahead and end it there. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode.